Hello and welcome to another episode of How Are You Holding Up? A mental health podcast by the depressed for the depressed. I'm Chris.
And I'm Lindsey.
And I'm going to start off with Lindsey. How are you holding up?
Well, the Harry Potter app came out, and it's great, so. I slept 4 hours last night.
Yep.
So that's great.
Yep.
And I socialized, you guys. And still dealing with an unbearably long to-do list that is ever growing longer and crushing my soul of things, like really big things, not just like, oh, wash your car. It's like, do this thing in a timely manner or you're going to be screwed out of $500 kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's overwhelming. How are you?
I am...
Holding up.
I am surprisingly in a positive headspace. Just from also socializing. Socialized on Friday and then Saturday. Took a trip with my family and we had delicious food, and I got disappointed because I couldn't pick up wine. And I was like, wow, that's all I'm disappointed about today? Hot damn. Let's go to sleep. Yeah, let's go to sleep early and wake up after a reasonable amount of sleep. And then that's what I did today. Was I went to bed and I actually I just basically hard sacked out.
That's really nice.
I rarely get to do that, so it's weird.
I feel like I'm keeping myself afloat. Like, I have little flotation devices on my mental health right now, on my arms and on my legs, keeping me above water. And one of them is audiobooks, and one of them is like happy game apps, and one of them is happy web comics, and one of them, just kind of new video games. And they're just kind of keeping me afloat in the river of death below me. Yeah. It's fine. I'm not depressed at all. So today we're going to be talking, having a part 2, because I feel like we've, some of these subjects are so vast that there needs to be multiple parts. And this is one of them. So, dating and depression.
Yes, dating and depression.
Dating and depression. When we started this whole shebang, we were both single.
Yes.
And since then, I've dated and gotten into a relationship, and Chris has off and on dated.
I have had at least 4 dates.
Yay!
And every single one has kind of just petered out for one reason or another. It's just, I honestly, we'll get to it, but I really feel like I probably just shouldn't be dating. But more on that later. For now, let's start with kind of continuing from where we were the last time we discussed this in terms of...
working backwards, of like, so let's say... You're someone who, like me, who I was a serial monogamist. Mm-hmm. And that means you just jump from very long relationship to very long relationship. That's where you feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize that was not a healthy thing until my 20s. Mid-20s, late 20s. Yeah, and I think I kind of rode the high of having somebody give me attention and the drama there in the relationship rather than focusing on my life and figuring out my career and my mental health and emotional health and healing from things and having good friendships and relationships with my family and hobbies and so forth. So I would just focus on these relationships because I thought that it would make me happy.
And did it?
Focusing on one person?
Yeah.
No, I made them miserable and myself miserable.
Hooray! So the first thing that we do want to discuss very, very clearly is getting into a relationship is not a cure-all.
Yeah, and I know that sounds silly maybe to some of you, and a lot of us know that, but it's just good to remember that you might be at this point where gosh, I've been single for so long, I think I would just be so much happier in a relationship, and that might be the case, but it's not going to be a consistent happy. There will be new problems, like when you get a new job or when you get a new house, there will be new things, great things and terrible things that will come up. Mm-hmm. You just switch up your challenges.
Especially when you have the challenge of it being, are you truly ready for being in a relationship?
Right.
You may find yourself in that situation where, you find someone that you are attracted to. They're attracted to you.
Mm-hmm.
You get along well. But maybe, just maybe, you have a lot of things going on in your head or in your life, and being in a steady, committed relationship just isn't in the cards. Like,
yeah,
you just can't throw that into your already existing bonfire of life.
And I think there's a couple schools of thought with, like, if you're already in the relationship, of it's everything. It's about timing, right? So, like, sometimes it's the right person at the wrong time, and then some people are like, no, that's just lazy. Like, you can make it work no matter what.
Sure.
And I don't know. I don't know if there's an answer for if that's true one way or the other. I think that depends on the person.
For me, it's definitely not a. I feel like the idea of it being you're lazy, just make it work. Sometimes it is more of a round peg, square hole situation, where if you try to force a relationship, you try to force this thing to work, you are going to definitely be neglecting other aspects of what makes a healthy and happy relationship. As opposed to if you are obsessing over the idea of, no, this just needs to work. It needs to work because that's what a happy relationship is. You're kind of missing the point of how relationships work sometimes, because you are, of course, a person. You are an independent person with your own thoughts and feelings. And sometimes you may find yourself forgetting that the person you're in a relationship with is also a person with their own thoughts, feelings, emotions, and needs.
Yeah.
So the idea of trying to force things to work, you need to really discuss that with your partner, and really both of you know, hey, is this what I want? Is this what you want?
Yeah.
And if you both can't agree on what you want out of a relationship, then it's okay to walk away.
Yeah.
If you both agree that things aren't working out.
But for folks who are currently in a situation where I hate dating apps, or you're trying dating apps, and I have social anxiety, or I have depression, but I'm lonely and I would like to find a partner, or I live, like, for me, I have off and on depression, so I just had to decide, okay, am I at a good enough point now where I can date people? Because it's always going to be there for me. So
Yep.
For you folks who are kind of dating and whatnot, you guys are all in the same boat as Chris.
Yep.
So for you, Chris, what is kind of the when do you decide to go on the date? Like, how do you get the gumption to go? And
well, for me, I'm usually I'm a talker. I'm a conversationalist. I will not want to engage somebody on a date unless I've had a conversation with them and gone, okay, this conversation has lasted for a few hours. I think I'm ready to meet this person in real life.
Phone, texting,
sometimes phone.
Yeah, okay.
It's kind of up in the air. I don't really do the phone call thing so much anymore, just because.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's rare that.
That's true.
It's rare that that's the first step anymore. It's like, yeah, we'll get on the phone after we've had an in-person conversation. For me, I don't know. It's kind of. I still feel kind of weird about dating at the current point in my life. I just, because I'm at that standpoint of I don't really feel like I'm worth it.
So when you say you don't feel like you're worth it, you feel like you're not worth it for another partner?
Yeah, more or less. I feel like I would be a drag on their good graces, let alone the idea of I have a very, very busy career path right now. Like, I work,
all the time.
All the fucking time.
Weekends sometimes.
I do work weekends sometimes. When I'm not working on, my career stuff, I'm doing other things. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to be a social human being, and I'm trying to, you and I, we work on this podcast. Yeah. That also takes time. It's a lot of stuff that I sit there and I go, well, when I have free time, the last thing I want to do is exist. So, and existing kind of comes with the territory of dating.
Yes, you kind of have to kind of be there.
You do kind of have to be there. And honestly, like, I've been on one or two of these dates where I've just been, I feel like I've been 100% checked out. And it sucks. Because I'm like, this is disrespectful for the other person. I feel like I'm not giving them the attention that they deserve. It's just not clicking, whatever the case may be. And I feel like, why the hell am I doing this?
So why are you doing it?
Because I'm lonely. And I do honestly, I feel that in my core. I am also a serial monogamist. I don't do well with little dates and, multiple partners or, whatever it is that people do as a standard dating mechanism now. I find myself more and more in the case of, well, I may as well just get all my other ducks in a row before I kind of work towards that. But it's hard to work towards everything else when the loneliness is absolutely crushing. And you just feel, you come home and you don't have a whole lot else that you want to do. It's barren. It feels like, it feels like eating a fistful of sand. You just trying to have some form of sustenance.
That's interesting that it's coming from a place of, it's like, how do you fix it, right? So like you're lonely, but you don't want to come at dating desperate.
Yeah.
But you still want to have a partner.
Yeah.
So you've got to fix the loneliness. But it's like this catch-22 of, well, what do you do?
I think the main things that are mostly hindering me also are just my own opinions of myself.
I was going to say, because I think being lonely is okay. Lonely is normal. And I think everybody feels that whether you're in or out of a relationship. And I think a lot of people are dating because they're lonely. It's less about that. It's more about, well, exactly, where are you in your life that you can, like, what kind of partner are you looking for? Someone to see once a week, talk to every once in a while? Like, if you've got a job that changes a lot, if you've got, it's hard to start that kind of relationship when you're also starting a career, also dealing with depression and stuff. And so I love this topic because I think it can come off to some people from the outside when they haven't experienced depression or they're not currently depressed that you're selfish. Mm-hmm. When you take time for yourself or you're doing all these things because you only have so much emotional bandwidth.
Yeah.
So also, can I be giving to a partner? And that's something that I'm dealing with right now. Is I have days, weeks that I'm great and my partner and I are fine and I'm able to kind of keep everything in balance. Even if I'm a little bit depressed, like we're still okay. And there's times where it's like, I don't think I can be a good girlfriend. And it's like, is this fair to that person? If I don't want to talk, if I just want to hang out in my room and be alone and you know what I mean? And it's like, it's fine for a day or two, but what happens when it turns into a couple weeks? And I have this fear, and I don't know if you guys experience this, but I have a fear that, I'm never going to be capable of just loving somebody and being in a good relationship because most of my experiences have been there's a lot of love and patches.
Sure.
And then something terrible happens, or I sabotage it, or maybe I just wasn't taught how to be in an appropriately loving relationship. That's
a
just
healthy, communicative
relationship. Yeah.
No, that's rough as hell. I mean, especially because, like, how do you manage it when you do feel like maybe you don't have time? Like maybe you want to take that time. Maybe you want that week where it's like you have to understand the compromise. And you have to also understand that the compromise goes both ways.
Yeah. And I think I was very serious about being single for a long time, and I was. And then I did do the dating thing for a while, and I was in a few short relationships. And so this is the first longer relationship I've been in a few years now. And I'm noticing that it's my default of, well, I'm ready to be like alone and not have to, because you for me, and I don't know if this is for everyone, but I'm constantly thinking about the other person, like, oh, I have to let them know I'm going home or to bed or saying goodnight, because if I don't say goodnight, then they might have their feelings hurt, and I mean, it's not something that's enforced in my relationship, but just little things that start to fall apart. Like in the beginning of a relationship, you're always so excited to say hello in the morning, you're always so excited to be talking constantly, and that just goes away after a while. That's just the honeymoon phase. But my fear is that what if my feelings go away and then it never comes back.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just in a depressed gray relationship and, you know.
My last relationship ended. No joke. I was on a business trip in Baltimore. And while I was out there, I'd been out there maybe 3 weeks. We had texted once that entire 3 weeks until the last part where they messaged me first saying that just didn't seem like it was working. We should just stop it and end it right there. And I was just like, no, that's fine. Yeah, no, that works for me. I got to get back to work. And that was it. And that was how it ended. And I went back to work. And my boss at the time was just like, hey, you all right? And I was like, yeah, just got broken up with. And he was like, wait, what?
How long have you been together?
We had been together almost, it was over 4 years, I think.
And I was there for the beginning.
Yeah. You were there literally the day we met because it was at your birthday party.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's knowing, sometimes it's knowing that, like, my depression had gotten steadily worse over the course of that relationship. And I was understanding that it just, after a while, communications weren't there, things weren't working well. Yeah. And I had fallen out of love. And it was at that point that I was like, should I try getting into another relationship at some point soon? And I was like, nope. No, I'm still in that headspace. I still don't feel like I should be in a relationship.
How long have you been single now?
It's a bit over a year. Yeah. It's been a bit over a year and a month, I think. But I mean, I have felt single for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Because it was dead at that point. So,
now, I have a fear of a partner falling out of love with me or me falling out of love with a partner. Do you think it was just because you guys weren't compatible in a lot of ways, or do you think that the depression had a lot to do with it?
I think it was a combination of the depression, as well as there was some abusive stuff. That was the big one. That was like the main.
You stop caring because you have to.
Yeah.
Keep yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. And I stopped caring about myself because of it. Because I was like, if this person that I love and trust and care about is willing to be this, destructive to me, then obviously that's what I deserve. That's what I need to be.
I was in a relationship like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. For
depression in general, right? If you're not loving, is it RuPaul who says, if you don't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love anybody else?
Mm-hmm.
But that's how I feel. And like, what the hell do you do if you're in a relationship and suddenly you stop loving yourself? What do you do then? Like, what do you do?
There are some instances where if you and a partner are able to communicate well enough, I know that I hear. This is not from personal experience, I'm afraid. But if you and a partner are able to communicate effectively and be close and open, and there literally are very few things that maybe you can't discuss, then you can make it through that. You can go through your depression. You can be like, hey, I'm not good today. And they can just be like, cool, what do you need? And you can say, I have no fucking idea. And they'll go, okay, then whatever you need, if you need it, we can do it. If you don't need it, we can do that too. Let's just get through this.
I have this love-hate relationship with myself where I often lose respect for myself at some point.
Same.
And you keep trekking on. This is not something that I feel like anybody ever prepares you for, right? Like at some point you're going to hate yourself and lose respect for yourself. And it's going to happen maybe multiple times in your life. In fact, it might happen once a month. You never know. And I think the frustrating thing is when somebody feels like you're being dramatic about it. And you're like, no, this is how I really feel. So I think right now I'm struggling a little bit with not feeling like even though I'm doing a shit ton of stuff, and I'm doing things that are kind of cool, and I have good things in my life, and I've got supportive, loving people, I don't like myself very much right now. And I don't really respect myself very much right now. And I feel kind of lost. And so I don't feel like I'm a very good partner right now.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like being emotionally intimate or any of that. Like, and it's not because they've done anything. It's just, and I feel like, fuck, it's not fair for that person, right? It's not fair that they be with somebody who's off and on and off and on. And how scary must that be for them?
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's rough. It's a rough existence. Like,
yeah,
we're not gonna lie to you guys. It is. You don't need us to tell you. It's not easy being depressed. It's not easy being green.
Yeah, but I think the thing you can do is you can still be. So what I did was I asked him. I said, "What makes you feel special? What is it that I do that makes you feel special and seen and loved?" Because I don't want to stop doing those things.
Yes.
So if I can be aware of what makes you feel good, then I can keep doing those, even if I don't have the energy for it, even that like you are a priority, so I want to make sure you feel that way, even if I can't connect to that.
Yeah, for me it was always it was a combination of, I loved being able to come home and talk about like the things that excited me, because there was so very few things that I would be like, I'm super stoked about this. And I had a partner at one point that was like, yeah, that's fucking cool. Here's what I'm excited about. And you shared your excitement with each other. It may not be things that you're 100% both excited about.
But seeing the other person
be excited about your excitement, that gives you the drive to be excited about what they're excited about. And you guys can be enthusiastic and wonderful and just share life.
Yeah.
Because that's what it really comes down to. You want a good relationship. You both got to be excited for each other's existence.
Yeah.
Because if you can't be excited about somebody that you love, like, come on, let's be real. Sometimes if you look at that person, and I understand that sometimes we can look at somebody that we love and not connect with them, and I totally feel that because I do that too. But sometimes you just have to look at them and just be like, holy shit, this person's awesome.
Yes. And that's why I think dating somebody who you just like, forget all the other shit. You just like them. You just like what they stand for. You like what they believe in. You just like them.
They're okay.
You know? That's important. Because whenever, like, maybe when you can't connect to them and you don't like, oh, I just want to like make out with you right now, or all that stuff's gone, at least you still like being around them and talking to them and doing stuff with them. And that, I think, is important. So date somebody that you genuinely like, not just that, you're drawn to sexually or, I don't know.
If you're only connecting on one level,
it's just no bueno.
It more often than not, if you're only connecting to them on one level, you're not communicating.
That's also true.
Because then you'll discover, oh wait, you're a flat earther? Ugh.
Oh God. Oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah, you like love and respect this person, then you find out, wait, you support who?
You did what now? Ooh. So yeah, okay. Anyway, one last thing I think that we should touch on before we kind of wrap up the episode is comparing ourselves to others and comparing our relationships to others.
Yes. When I was in high school, was absolutely determined that I was going to be married with babies by like 24, 25. And that seems like a realistic number. And then I hit 24 and 25, and that was when I just started doing like codependency therapy and PTSD therapy. And I'd been in a very long-term relationship that had ended in him just deciding to continue smoking pot and living in his house and not wanting to grow with me. And and I keep comparing myself. It's hard when you're human. You do that.
Yep.
I am now 30, living at home, working 3 part-time jobs, and not always really great.
I had a little bit of a bit of leniency because all of my family basically got married, got got their family on in their early 30s. So I was like, oh, good. I have time. I could maybe make this happen. Now I'm in my early 30s. Yeah. And I immediately am going, oh, I fucked it. I fucked it real hard.
Yeah, my older sister was married in her 20s, and they have a house and 2 cars and 2 beautiful children, 1 girl, 1 boy, 2 great jobs, you know.
Mm-hmm. So it's difficult sometimes, is what we're saying, to not compare oneself by others' achievements. They are not you, and that is okay.
And we don't know what they're going through.
We don't know anything about what is in their brain, because none of us are mind readers. They could be going through the same amount of stress, anxiety, or worse, and somehow they just manage to cope with it differently.
Yeah. It
may not be better.
And you might, this is the other thing, you might not actually want what you think you want. I think that's a big thing for me. I realized I had, as a woman, been raised to, you should want children, you should want to be married. And I came to a point where I said, well, if I actually never get married and I never have children, I will be okay. That's where I got with my life before I found my new partner. So I think really figuring out who you are, maybe you don't want to be married. Maybe you aren't wanting to fall into the normal thing. You just want to have a life partner, or you want to have multiple partners, or it's really figuring out yourself instead of like trying to prove to your family or to your friends or whatever, or society that oh no, I'm adjusted, I have a partner. We have 2.3 kids.
Maybe you just want to be a dink. Double income, no kids.
That's just the dream, honestly.
Yeah, you just both want to be able to do whatever it is you want as adults. You can go travel the world, do whatever it is that you want. Maybe that's the dream. You don't know, though, until you stop comparing yourself to what you think you want. The grass is always greener.
And at the end of the day, the most important relationship you can have is with yourself.
Yay. Yes, this is actually 100% true, because you may eventually get with somebody who you spend a relationship with for 50 years, but guess what? There's one person you've spent more time with in your life. You.
Take yourself out on a date.
Take yourself out on a date. Make yourself feel special.
Yes.
Give yourself that exercise that you so need.
Yeah, get the Harry Potter app or Pokemon Go app or any app and walk with it. If you're like me, it helps.
Yes.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening in.
We are thankful for all of you for listening. You are all wonderful, amazing, incredible people.
Yes.
We are going to have some special things coming up in a couple weeks, by the way. Our 50th episode is 2 episodes away.
Yes.
Which is exciting. So what we're going to ask you at the end of this episode, and it's also going to be on the Instagram and whatever social media we've got going on.
Yes.
We're going to make a poll, and or just open request. What is something you guys want to see or hear about us doing for our 50th episode? We will go ahead and take everything into consideration, and then we will plan accordingly.
So this can be a discussion. This could be an interview. This could be us going out doing something and then reporting back to you guys. Mm-hmm. So just let us know.
As for us, follow us on Instagram at HAYHU Podcast, like our Facebook page, subscribe to the subreddit, and if you want to send us something directly, go ahead and email mailbag@howareyouholdingup.com.
Yes, do all those things.
Do all the things.
And also,
don't tell us to just get over it.